Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to tell you about this podcast. It's called the DK Project, but it's really the Darren Show. The DK Project is a radio show, but without the radio. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
Let's go!
Welcome, podcast listeners, to another episode of the DK Project. We are here today with Kristen. Live show. Boom. Not really live. We're recording it. That was such a mechanical voice.
Lies. All lies.
All I've done is sweat in this booth for the last 2 days. Things have just been crazy.
Wow.
Busy beyond busy. We've been ripping podcasts. Oh, Kenny Aronoff, which probably will be released just before this one will. But man alive, what an awesome dude.
Very cool.
I was super impressed. And then we also had Howard Bloom on, which my listeners are, it's going to go over their head. I mean, this is advanced shit. He's like, the words were so big that I can't even repeat them. They're like, neuromyophylliothioboyo.
Yep.
I'm like, of course I know what that is. Howard.
I'm like, come again?
Come again?
Come again?
The hell was that? We had a good show. It actually, I had to cut him off. Like,
oh, wow.
Howard was one of those people where, like, I don't get to talk, to where you almost want to go like, dude, it's my show.
Yeah.
I'll be the one
Hold
leading
on.
here. No, not with him. He was friggin' guns blazing. But it almost seemed like he's been on a few shows because he's doing a book tour. He's got a new book out.
Okay. Makes sense.
So, like, a lot of it seemed like he said that 15 times already today. So if you don't hear it on the project, you're probably going to hear it somewhere else. Because that's how it works. Big time. Hey, I had a weekend. Oh, my God.
Yeah, tell me about this weekend.
I figured out, I've been on this weight loss plan, and I'm like, God damn it, I can't lose any weight.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
And I think I figured out what the problem is.
What?
I go out to eat too much. Like,
yeah.
Holy cow.
That does it, too. That will do it.
And I even try to, like, eat healthy shit when I'm out, but
still, it's something in there that just doesn't give a shit.
So we were at Friday night. We went out and did something. I don't even remember what it was. I don't even remember. And it was it couldn't have been that memorable then, I guess. I don't know. But we did the restaurant gig and went out and whatever. And then Saturday, I'm like, it's hot. God, it was hot. And they had this new restaurant in town called Duke's. Not in town, but
Dukes. Put up your Dukes. What is it, Dukes?
Far.
Okay.
Dukes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really cool. And so we go in there and they're like, oh, air conditioning at the bar, or do you want to go outside? Because they got a bar outside.
Nice.
So I go outside and I'm sitting at the bar and it is fucking hot. But I'm like, whatever. They got these icy machines, that have these pre-mixed drinks like a daiquiri.
I love frozen drinks.
Yeah. Well, the wife was loving them too. But
they're super strong.
I adapted and found some things that I could drink. And the bartender, I mean, you ever do that where you go to the bar and everything's just right? Like the bartender was cool with me being an asshole and obnoxious, and the people sitting around me were having fun. I mean, I was holding court. I was having so much fun. And I wasn't like being a rude, drunk person, but I was like, I was doing okay. And, and it was to the point where people were sitting at the bar waiting for their table to be ready. And they'd come get them and say, your table's ready. And they're like, no, we'll just stay here. Like they wouldn't leave.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm whatever, feeling no pain. And I'm like, hey, we got to eat. And all of a sudden, they're like, what's your favorite? So we order this turkey avocado club.
Ooh, very nice.
Game changer. On top
really
of the
nice
variety of drinks that I had. So it probably wasn't the healthiest day. But where this is there's fake grass behind you. That's where all the outdoor dining is. It's on fake grass. And they encourage dogs to come out.
Okay. So I was thinking something too with peeing in the grass or something.
That's what it is. It's what it is. Dogs pissing in the grass, whatever. Oh, that one over there just took a shat. Go pick it up.
Yeah.
But we're sitting there and Bob was my favorite pickleball playing bartender. And he goes, he's just, and he's an older dude and he's like working it, and everything's cool. And the whole fucking time I'm like, I'm smelling BO and I'm like, that can't be me. I showered before I came here. It ain't me. So, the wife and I are sitting at the bar and I'd look over at it and go, we got BO. I mean, where are we at here,
Yeah.
So she'd do the casual stroll in for the smell, and not me. It's not me.
Yeah.
Never did figure out who it was, but it wasn't me.
Oh.
But anyway, I turn around at the bar, and there's a fucking lady on the ground. It's so hot out. She went down. So
she fainted from the heat.
Something, heat stroke or
something. I was thinking maybe because she was drunk, too, on top of it.
Well, it could be. I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
I wasn't there to babysit everybody. But I'm like, hey, Bob, we got to pipe her down over here. And there were like fucking ambulances and the whole bit. Like, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
So whatever, I'm back to my normal drinking and doing my thing and just having a good old time. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm going to run in and use the head. So I go into the restaurant, and the ambulance is back. Another one went down. This one was an employee.
Jesus, Lord Almighty.
2 ambulance tours to this place in one day. I'm like,
holy shit! 2 ambulances.
So
that's pretty extreme.
Do you ever do that where you're like at a bar and you're having a good time? And I'm sure as a girl you get a lot of phone numbers. But I actually had people that were like, hey, let me see your phone. And they would send themselves a text from my phone so they'd have my number. Mm-hmm. So then, like, the one lady's like, hey, hire me, whatever. And she was cool. I'm like, hey, you're marketing. Whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just the weirdest time. And I'm sitting there, and the wife's like, we got to go. We can't be here. We got there at 1 o'clock. And it's like 6:30, and I'm looking around, and I go, I think that's Joe Biden. and my whole group goes, what? I said, that's Joe Biden right there. And his wife kind of looked like Mrs. Biden. I don't even know her name. Jill?
Yeah.
Is it Jill?
Mrs. Biden's fine.
What is it, Jill?
Maybe it is Jill. It might be Jill. You're right. Yeah, it's Jill.
How dumb are we? Is it Jill?
I think it's Jill. Let me just double check while you're telling the story.
Dr. Biden.
Let me make sure.
So the wife's like, just leave it alone. Don't get involved. I'm like, I gotta go say hi. So the one gal that was skipped going to her table to hang out, she's like, yeah, I'll video it, I'm like, well, I don't need a video. I'm going to need a couple pictures, though. So I go over there, and I'm like, dude, you look a lot like Joe Biden. And he goes, someone else just said that in the entryway.
My gosh.
But he was not a Joe Biden fan, which made it even better. So then I'm talking to his wife, and his wife's like, yeah, and I don't know if I sent you a picture. The guy's nose is a little bigger than Joe Biden's nose. Otherwise, possible twin.
Like carbon copy?
Twin.
Oh, okay.
It was crazy. So then I'm over there doing that, and all of a sudden I'm like, where's the wife? Well, she left and went and got the car. So she parks out front, and she comes in. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I was talking to Joe Biden. What like, he's the fucking president. I got to stay.
Yeah.
I got to talk to him. All these other people are afraid.
Do it for my country, yeah.
But I'm like over there. I'm over there talking to people about their dogs, and I'm fuck. I'm telling you. God. I'm surprised I didn't get thrown out. I wasn't like belligerent or anything. We were having fun. But usually when I am overserved, I'm fun in my eyes.
Yeah.
And everybody else is like, oh, that asshole. So then we're getting hoopty, and it's like, God, it's only 7:30. I mean, we were at the bar since 1, but we don't want to go home. All right.
Yeah, of course.
Let's
Still
find
early.
somewhere to go.
It's
summer. There's a blues bar that is near my house.
Very nice.
So we're like, hey, let's go in there. So we go in there, and there's this dude in there, and he's just built like a fucking brick shit house, And then he's with another dude and a gal, and I'm like, dude, you work out?
We said you work out.
Yeah, I go, dude, do you work out?
Oh, my Lord.
And he's like, yeah, a little bit, whatever. So we're talking. I'm like, so how are you eating this shit and drinking beer? I mean, I'm a fat beer drinking guy, and how do you look like that? And I don't remember fully what he said, but I'm sure it was informative. So anyway, they were on motorcycles, and the one guy that he was with told me something. I don't remember what it was, but my wife made it seem like it was a big deal. But then they left, and this other couple comes in, right? And it's very attractive gal and this dude, and they roll in, and I don't know if they've been drinking already or what. And she sits down at the bar, and he sits down next to her, and she's like lounging because there's nobody at the bar stool, so she's got her legs up on the bar stools. And somehow it comes up, and she goes, "What's your name?" And I'm like, so I told her, and she goes, "Oh," she goes, did you ever live at this address?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "That's my house." And it's a house that I built before the house I'm in now.
Oh, okay.
It was like our dream home, you know, like, oh my God,
Yeah.
we're going to live here forever. But then it was like, oh my God, the neighbors suck. So anyway, I'm like, oh, really? And because I know it just sold for fairly large amount. And it's a single gal. So we're talking to this gal, and she was great. I don't know if she was drunk or not, but we're talking to her, and we had ordered a burger, and we were split the burger. And we had ordered pretzels, you know, pretzels with cheese, you know? But they were like... They were
nice.
Tubes, like pretzel logs.
Yeah.
I don't know how you say that.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, and I ate one of the pretzel logs, and the other one was sitting there, and we're talking to this lady who lives in our house, and we're just laughing because the house I live in now is the same house with some minor changes. We built the same house. It's just on a bigger lot. Better neighbors. And she goes, "Hey, can I have a bite of that?" I'm like, "My fucking pretzel?" She goes, "Yeah."
What?
So and there's a COVID. So she tears off a little pretzel and puts it in the cheese. Wham, down the hatch. I'm like, all right, we can overlook that, you know, whatever. So we're talking, having a good time, laughing.
Yeah.
She ate the whole fucking pretzel. So then she's done. And the wife and I didn't care. Like I don't eat bread, so it didn't really matter to me. But then she's eyeing up the wife's fries. And the wife's like, "You want a fry?" And she goes, "Sure." So she starts eating the fries, right? She took one, she took two, and then all of a sudden, the wife like lifts the napkin up because she was done, and whatever. And the gal took a fry that the wife had already bitten off of and hammered it down. And we're like,
"Oh my!"
Isn't there a pandemic going around? Like, isn't there a resurgence?
So let me tell you, this just reminded me what happened. I went out to dinner with this couple I'm really good friends with on Tuesday, and we went to my friend's boyfriend is a chef, so like he helped create some of this new menu at this restaurant. I won't say where it's at. And like, so we went in and we went to get a couple drinks, and the bartender, I really wasn't feeling the bartender. He was sort of rude, and my friend was like, "Well, the bartender doesn't really like me." And I'm like, "Well, I don't care. Like, he should still be a little bit more personable." And you could just tell like he just didn't really want to talk to us. So I'm like, that's fine. But he goes and he makes this drink, and he's like, "Oh, this is my special drink I made today." And he's like, "I just thought it up." So he let one of the servers try it, and then he goes and he lets like 4 people that were sitting all at the bar share the drink and try it out of the same cup and try it too. And then he goes back and takes a sip. And my friend looked at me and she said, "Isn't there a pandemic going on?" I said, "I cannot believe what I just saw." First of all, he was rude. Second of all, he shared this drink with 4 strangers and then still continued to drink out of the same cup. Blew my mind. I was like, I don't even want to make up my drinks anymore.
Well, and people are wondering why the pandemic won't go away.
Yeah. And it's like, this is strangers. This is a stranger that you're like, I understand I've shared stuff with friends, but this is a stranger. You don't know if they have COVID. You don't know if they're vaccinated. You know nothing about their life.
And I'm looking at
have herpes.
And I'm looking at this lady who's eating this stuff out, and I'm like, why don't you just make out with my wife if you're going to eat all that food? Like,
you're right, yeah. But like, you would even take all this food. I would be, you see, you're really nice. I would be like, there's a menu. Order what you want.
And then, well, here's what it was. And then the next day I woke up and I'm like, did we eat while we were there? And she's like, yeah, we had a, black and blue burger or whatever. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
The best days are when she has as much as I do, so she remembers as little as I do. But I have a thing. I didn't drink that much. Mm-hmm. And but there's like a low threshold for blackout for me. Like I don't remember anything. But I had a stroke. I'm going to the stroke card. But I blacked out before the stroke.
Stop saying
but I totally it was the weirdest night ever. And then this lady leaves and we're like, we got to go home. This is too much. So, and we have this ritual on Sundays. We get up and we walk here to the building and open the store and everything. And then we go back and then we go find a place to have a Bloody Mary and a snack, Mm-hmm. So we're driving and I'm like, I had some errands to run. And I'm like, hey, that Duke's has a sister restaurant in Hopkins called whatever the hell it is. Let's go there. That way we don't seem like we're going back to the same restaurant because we're both like, we got to get that turkey club again. So we go to this other restaurant and we saddle up and we were also like, we're going to get a Mr. Missy icy machine for our ice cream store. So we were doing research and development. And they were on brunch. They didn't have the turkey club.
Oh, heartbroken. So I ended up.
This is the worst part. Is You want to just run the buttons for me? Or you want to give me time to run the buttons? So we're in there, and it was like, a Bloody Mary and usually an appetizer. We're out of there for $20-$30. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I'm going to get this breakfast burrito because I'm hungover and I'm hungry. And she's like, I'm going to get this skillet because whatever. Fucking $65. I'm like,
$65
for the 2 drinks and she had to get another frozen drink. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't just have 1 drink. You have to have 2 at least when you go out. Come on.
Oh, God. I don't know.
Like, two's like, that's like a normal. When you say 1, no, it's going to be 2. Come on, you know this by now.
Basically, if I would not have gone out last weekend, I probably could have paid off my house. Like, Jesus Christ. Because I forget because I went 5.5 years without drinking.
Yeah.
When I don't drink, she backs off the throttle a little bit. So the restaurant bills are very approachable. Because if you don't pay for any booze and you only pay for food, it's not bad at all.
It makes a difference. You really can tell a difference if you don't drink.
Well, now both of us are drinking, and one of us doesn't drink beer, so
yep.
There it goes. God, it's just horrible.
I know when I move back to Ohio soon, I'm going to see the difference just in price alone just for drinks. I'm like, it's going to be so cheap. Yeah, I know. I was like, it's going to be so cheap for me to drink again. Like, this is going to be great. No $16 cocktail, $18 cocktail.
Fuck that.
But like, that's when you go to like the bougier spots. But
well, that's where I go.
Well, I know because you are bougie. We know. No camping, only glamping.
Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back with more of the DK Project after this word from our sponsors. Hey everybody, guess who's hiring? The Hair Studio in Chaska. If you know a professional stylist who's ready to make a move and lives in that Chaska, Southwest Metro area, be sure to give the Hair Studio in Chaska a call, 952-368-0900. They do it all from cut, color, perm, primp, whatever your needs are. Now that the pandemic's over, they're busy. They need to add some more stylists, so give them a call or stop in at the Mill Building, 500 North Pine Street in Chaska, Minnesota, 952-368-0900. The career of your dreams could be waiting just down the road. Be sure to check it out. Great location, great people, great clientele. Tell them you heard about it on the project. Hey everyone, wanted to talk to you a little bit about insurance. Insurance is one of the things everybody has, although not many know what to look for. And just look at price. Well, if you want to buy insurance from a cartoon lizard, remember that in the event of an accident. Or you can have Wiser Insurance on your side. With over 26 years of experience, Wiser Insurance Agency can assess your risk and make recommendations that are the best thing for you. Because they have 22 companies to choose from. Working with an independent agent is key because needs change, and so do rates and coverages. So ask yourself, do I want a local friendly guy in my corner? Or do I want 1-800-LIZARD on my side? It's pretty obvious, guys. Go with the local with all the options. Wiser Insurance Agency. If you're with one of the big gorillas, what we call captive agents, you don't get options. They offer you what's best, whether it fits you or not. That's all they have. Where Wiser can look at different companies and find out where the best fit for you is. And maybe that changes. Then they can change it. Because they have 22 companies to offer, one of them being Auto Owners Insurance. So give the boys a call at 952-472-3660 or look them up on the web at wiser-ins.com. Boo. Welcome back.
Welcome.
To the DK Project. Boo. Boo.
What's wrong?
And we're back after that short commercial interruption. This is the long version, evidently. It's the whole song.
I guess so.
Speaking of, that reminds me of when I was talking to Kenny Aronoff. He was the drummer for the Bon Jovi Blaze of Glory, that movie they did, Blaze of Glory. He was the drummer. Dude,
that's
he had
dope.
such a killer story. And he's got a book.
I'm going to have to listen to it. That says, yeah.
Did I talk to you last week about Danny Trejo's book?
Yes, you did. You did. Yes, you did. That's right.
Well,
Let me write this down.
I've switched
too.
on
Henry's
now.
horrible.
I've switched now. I'm on, it's called Blue Fishing with Brian Sims. I think it's Brian Sims. He's blue fishing. I love that. It's great. Audiobooks are the shit. Oh, by the way, I didn't get that audiobook. It was Sons of Anarchy type stuff. And I was going to be one of the biker dudes, but I didn't get it.
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
Whatever.
Sons of Anarchy.
You can't get them all. So anyway, hey, I'm working on my, I'm going to go to, on a little trip we have MEA, which is Minnesota Educators Association. They get like extra 4 days off or something. I don't know. These kids don't ever go to school, so we like to go somewhere, whatever. This year I'm going to go out to North Carolina.
Okay.
And try and stay in the mountains. But man, when you've never been to an area and you don't know anything, and I'm like
you in the mountains.
Like next to, I don't know anything that I put this amount of time into ever. Like if I'm traveling, I'll spend a week looking for the best spot. Like the money, obviously the money matters because I don't want to waste a lot of money. But
yeah,
when you're looking at it, it's like, maybe I want a little nicer. Maybe I want a little better view. Maybe I want to. So this area that I'm going to is very popular in October when we're going, and I just kind of, I'm just kind of struggling with it because there's one house that's kind of hanging off of a hill with stilts and shit. Amazing view, whatever, but it's a little more pricey. But then there's some that are right in town, and I'm like, ugh. It's like, you'd almost think I was buying the house and going to live there forever. But it's like...
Hey, but that's like a big thing when you go somewhere. You have to make sure you're comfortable. Yeah, you have to make sure you're comfortable. Come on. You got to be a little bit bougie when it comes to that stuff.
I think you're helping me here. But you had mentioned glamping. But, the thing that I found about this region is that they have tree houses. Like there's...
It's called region?
What?
What is it called where you're going?
No, region is an area. So,
I know, but that's why I was like, no, but I'm like, where is it called that you're going?
Asheville.
So.
Asheville.
Asheville, thank you. Okay, I'm going to look it up.
Please come to Asheville. Kenny Chesney's got nothing to worry about. So there's like a downtown area, and then there's like this outer area. And so you could get a house or you could get a condo, but then they do have tree forts, like tree houses.
That's cool.
But they're all kind of booked. And I'm thinking... I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird situation. I really normally am pretty good at it, but I try to get everything in one deal. Like I want to be able to walk to here. I want to be able to see this. I want to be able to stretch out here.
You have to go for how far is everything from the house on the stilts? You're saying on the hill.
And it's going to end up being the house on the stilts. And then all of a sudden I'm like, why did I just do this originally? It would have saved me a lot of freaking headache because whatever, it's dumb, but I'll get through that this week, and I'm finding a portable audio recording setup.
Oh,
so me being the cheap ass that I am, I went out and I bought all this PVC piping, and I'm like, this is so killer. I put it together like a cube, and then I buy a blanket, and I'm gonna have the blanket custom cut, so it's whatever. And I keep telling the wife, take it over to the seamstress and have it, seamed up and fit.
Yeah.
And she's like, so today I'm like, are you going to do that? And she's like, why are we doing this? She's like, they have this, because I sent her a picture of one that's online that you can buy. She goes, why don't you just buy this one that comes all pre-done and it's light and it travels and everything's cool. I'm like, because I got $20 into mine. That one's $400. She goes, spend the money. She goes, by the time you get all this shit into your suitcase, you can't travel with it anyway. So I'm like, I hate to let her know she won, but I'm just like, oh God, come on, cut me a little slack.
Sometimes you have to admit defeat. It's okay.
Well, Life it's not really defeat. I'm trying for the greater good. Here's another thing. Oh my God, a lot of shit happened. So I've been telling the wife, I want this one chair. I was at this house. Actually, when I go into these really high-end houses, they have this chair. It's like I don't know. I don't even know what you call it, but it's kind of like loungy, and it's got a footstool, and it's all
that's cool.
It's all like leather. I'm like, God, I gotta have it. It just looks cool. And we have this room. My college kid moved to the basement, so we took his room, and his room is the den, and then I have a studio. Well, it's not. Excuse me. Back. That room is now the dog's room. So the dog. Has her kennel in there, and that's where she rests.
I love that the dog has a room, but that's great. Go ahead.
Well, and off of the dog's room is my studio. So when I want to go record, it can't be, because I get up in the middle of the night sometimes, and and I want to go in there and screw around, but I can't because then I'll wake the dog up, and then I got to take the dog. That's all this shit. I don't want to do. So I'm like, God, we could make that the den. I could get a TV and this chair. I just keep sending her a picture of this chair because I'm like, I never buy furniture. What do I give a shit? Well, the other day, my daughter's got a friend coming in from out east, so they're like, hey, we need to adjust these doors because otherwise the dog knows they're in there and the dog hits the door and the door opens, so you got to adjust it so it locks. So I'm fixing these things, and I go down to the what would be den, and I'm adjusting this lock, and I get it all done, and I'm like, oh, there, perfect, works. And they're like, open the door. So I open the door, and they got me the chair. So the chair's assembled in the den.
Oh my God, beautiful.
Oh, this is awesome. Because
you have to send me a picture of this chair.
Hopefully it ain't fucking there anymore. On with the story. So I said to her, that's awesome. Like, I was so pumped because she doesn't often do that kind of thing for me, which I totally get, whatever. Because if I want something, I get it, I'm waiting. She's like, yeah, it's kind of an early birthday present because, I figured I'd buy it, but if you don't like it, I have to be able to return it. So I have to give it to you because it got here. Otherwise, because my birthday's not for a month or whatever. And so I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I sit in it and I'm like, oh, it ain't that great.
Oh, my Lord.
You buy this shit online and you don't know. So I'm like, okay, and it wasn't like crazy money, but it was like enough to where,
Oh.
So this was last Thursday. I got the chair. And I'm like, I keep trying it, I keep trying. I'm like, I want to be able to read, and then maybe, it's like the guy room, and God, the chair sucks. It's just not comfortable. Like, it's comfortable, but it's not like, and I'm looking for, And so I keep telling her, I'm like, let's just return the chair. Like, I don't want to tie that kind of money up.
My gosh.
So she's like, oh, yeah, whatever you decide. Why don't you give it the weekend, sit in it, see if, whatever. So I'm like,
the weekend.
Well, and I know what it is. She knows that it's her who has to disassemble it, box it up, and freaking get rid of it. So I'm like, I don't think we need to keep the chair.
My Lord.
So we go through the process. Well, when you buy something like that and you go to return it on Amazon, even though we're Prime members, they don't just let you take it. If it's not defective. So their free returns is only free if there's a problem, not if you decide you don't like it. So they're like, well, we can send you a shipping label, and then we'll just take the amount of that out of your return funds. Because if you go to like UPS and pay for shipping, it's going to cost you a fortune. But the way that we ship stuff, it won't be that bad.
Yeah.
So today I'm like, we should really, take that step. And she actually did the process and whatever. And I'm just like, I feel so bad, but it's like, I guess if I'm going to spend the money, I want a chair that's like,
no, I get it, but that sucks still.
It was such a nice gesture. I'm like, I kept saying that to her. I'm like, that's such a nice gesture. And she's like, why do you keep saying that? I'm like, because it really was. Like, nobody ever does that for me. Like, just buys me a chair. That's freaking awesome.
It sounds like dating in New York. Everything looks great at first, and then once you get a little bit in there, you're just like, nah, I'm good.
Right. It was like, that's exactly what it was. Because I'm like, it doesn't rock. It swivels a little bit, but it doesn't rock. And the footstool thing was nice, but the backrest wasn't high enough. Well, we actually ordered furniture back in January for my basement, whatever. And it finally showed up last week. So on top of this chair, we got all this other furniture, and I'm like, I don't need all this furniture in one day. It's a lot of furniture. But it's been a crazy week. I told you, it was all kinds of crazy shit happening up in here.
Well, at least you're having a good time. I'm just seeing friends and packing and figuring out what I'm going to take and what I'm not going to take. So at least someone's having fun out here. I'm really not doing too much. I'm going to people's houses, really, than hanging out. I don't even feel like going out right now, honestly, over here. I'm sort of over it.
Is it hot?
It's been hot as hell. It's been raining nonstop this whole summer. I'm so over it. It's raining again today. What? It rains like, at least I swear, like once a week, I swear to God, over here.
Oh my God.
I don't know what's going on.
We're in a drought. We got no rain.
Yeah, we get rain all the time now. It's really annoying. It sucks.
Well, it's at the point where I just saw our freaking governor come on talking about how, the drought's going to affect some pricing. It's like
pricing's already been affected by the whole pandemic, so I don't know what they're talking about. Come on.
I should have talked to Biden about it on Saturday when I had his attention.
Did you take a picture with him?
Yeah, I did. I'll have to send it to you.
Send it to me too. I was going to say, if you didn't, I would slap you.
No, it was crazy, and I'm looking at the guy going, this isn't like common knowledge for you? Like, really? I was blown away. But we definitely, oh my God, I did not look my best. But it was a fun weekend. So we're not complaining. What do you know? What do you got for excitement? What do you got for excitement?
Nothing really. No, I was reading actually earlier. Sorry, it's a little bit stuffy here.
Did you get that picture?
Too. Yes, I got. Let me see this picture. Oh, yep, I got the picture. Oh my God, he sort of does look like Biden.
I told you.
He does sort of look like Biden. Oh, and you were right. His wife's name is Jill, by the way. So you were right. At least we know his wife's name.
Of course.
What was I reading?
Hey, wait a minute.
Huh?
I hate to interrupt you, but I finished my book on John F. Kennedy.
Oh, you never told me you're reading a book on John F. You were like obsessed with like the Matthew McConaughey book.
Oh, all right.
I had to say it.
I love that book. You know how many people I've told about that book? He's got it. His sales.
I believe it.
Off the chain, not because of me, but I'm sure that he's having this effect on more than just me. But no, I listened to that book, but I read Bill O'Reilly's version of the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and it was pretty good. I didn't know that they had a couple of other children that didn't make it. That was interesting to me, but it was also interesting how much of a canoodler he was, and Jackie knew about
I believe
it. It was just
that's totally, yeah, that was normal. Come on, you were interested in how much a canoodler he was. He was a big man-ho. He was very cute, but a big man-ho.
I know, but what is that, man whore? Is that what you're saying?
A man-ho, yeah, he was like a man whore. Come on, like he was getting all the ladies. He didn't care. He was the president.
New York speed. I had to slow it down for my listeners. Mental.
Man-ho, he was a hoe.
But it was very interesting how he broke this down to where there were a lot of people who weren't very happy with Kennedy, that it could have been anybody. Obviously, in this particular book, they painted it out to be Lee Harvey Oswald, which the rest of the world still believes that. But like the mob was pissed at him. The Cuban thing was going on. There were a lot of people that weren't happy with him. But it was funny because I'm reading it, and obviously, I mean, earmuffs if you don't know how it ends, but he dies. And
get out of here.
Yeah.
You spoiled. I know I can't even read the book now. He's totally spoiled everything. I want to throw my computer.
Well, sometimes I just got to let the cat out of the bag. And so anyway, I do this, and I get to the part, and it was funny because I had I was at 80% on my Kindle. So I'm sitting there that day, and I'm telling the wife and kids, I got to go read because I think he's going to die tonight. I think he's going to die. And sure enough, he died, and there wasn't much book left after that. So, boom, we're out of there.
I mean, yeah, we know how the story ends.
Yep, it didn't end well for him. But now I'm on to this Sam Giancana thing, mob shit. Man, I love that stuff.
Maybe it's because I'm Italian, but I love watching anything about the mobsters. I read the book of the Al Capone twice. I mean, I don't know, anything with mobs or mobsters, I'm totally down to watch.
Oh God, I gotta get you this one. Pete Corielli told me about this one book, and my God, it was awesome. Yeah. People say, I couldn't put it down, and I don't read that well, but I couldn't put that thing down. It was serious. He was killing everybody. It was awesome. Awesome. So what do you got in the news?
I was just reading around a little bit this week besides packing and stressing out from driving soon. I read that, so there was a lady that was in Germany. She was carrying around a lottery ticket in her purse with weeks without realizing it was worth 33 million euros, what she says is $39 million that she had in her purse for weeks. I don't even know. She said, I still get dizzy at the thought. I carried around almost 33 million euros around in my purse for several weeks.
How
I don't know what I would say.
How would you handle that? What would be you got a lottery. I play the lottery because you know what?
I play here and there.
If you don't fucking play, you ain't gonna win. At least
story.
I got it.
True
so
story.
What you're saying is there's a chance. What do? You go check the ticket. You got all the numbers. $39 million. What's the first thing you're gonna do?
Pay off my debt. The student loan debt. I want to be completely debt-free. You can see that I'm getting older because I'm just get rid of my debt. I know I'm late, but then after that, it's going to be a house in Spain, a house in Italy, a couple, pay off people's debts. It's lame. I'm sorry. I'm a little lame.
It really, yeah.
Your face had said it all when I said just pay off my debt.
Fuck, come on. So we should have certain signals for when I'm working a bit that you need to roll with it. So, I pay off some debt. I'd probably Probably,
well, I mean,
I've got some high interest credit cards
debt.
that I'd really like to capitalize on. I'd really like to get those taken care of.
I want to be debt free.
Everybody wants to be debt free, but you got $39 million. It's not a problem anymore. You fucking do whatever you want. Start your own credit card company.
Amazing trip. I don't know. You would think of all the stuff you do, but yeah, my thing was like no debt. What would you do?
I think the first thing I'm going to do is look into private airline service.
Oh,
like I don't want to deal with people at an airport. I don't fly that much. I really don't.
Yeah, that'd be definitely a private plane. It's annoying.
Like I want. and you know how people always measure their success by I want that house or I want that and that's like. When I'm on a private plane, that's when I'll know I'm where I want to be. Like I either won the lottery or a lot of things lined up.
Yeah.
So we're banking on the lottery. But just to be able to, the plane's leaving when I want it to. That's what I want. That's it. And you know what? I'll probably pay off some debt too. Why not? Why not?
Go a little crazy, go a little crazy.
Debt, I'll probably tuck some away so I have it for later. God.
I've got so usually I would have been like, I'm gonna buy a car, I'm gonna buy this house. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna pay off my debt.
What did the German lady say that she's gonna do with the money?
She actually did. She says she plans to use her lucky windfall to live a healthy, happy life. That was it. So it's about as boring as me.
Yeah, she's fucking paying off debt. That's what she's doing.
Yeah, she's about as boring as me.
Yeah. All right, I guess I want to pay off some debt. Yep, I see it. I hear it. What else is in the news?
I was actually looking at so I love BuzzFeed. I'm a regular because I do a lot of stuff with food and everything. And it was like the most trending tweets out there lately. And there's this guy that screenshotted his text messages with his dad. He put it on his tweet. And he said, I changed a no in my dad's phone to fart and asked to use his credit card, this thing actually sort of made me laugh. So he said, I guess he's dating this girl. And he said, I'm buying her a ring with your card. Says $10,000 or so is ? Is that okay? And his dad wrote back, let me just zoom this up. But you know what, Christopher, I wish I could believe even for a mere moment that were true. The reality is that you're living in my basement on your 5th year, finding yourself in quotes, which I learned consists of playing The Sims until 3 a.m. and masturbating. Instead of, like I said, he says, no, he's using the word fart. You have fart friends, fart money, fart talent, fart charisma. It's like his dad just went in, hold on. Fart charisma, and then it says fart sexual experience, fart redeeming qualities whatsoever. Quite honestly, there's fart way a woman of sound mind agreed to become involved with you. There's fart way if your life will end in anything but siphoning resources away from me like some parasitic adult baby.
Oh my gosh!
Like his dad just went hard in on it, but I was like, oh my god, he didn't leave anything.
How does that get onto BuzzFeed? Like, how does that get to that point?
Something, I don't know, someone just caught the right person's eyes, and it just went on from there. Sometimes it only takes out one little spark.
I had the weirdest thing happen to me yesterday. I'm not a Venmoer, but I had this.
I remember that. I remember the story.
What?
You had a story with Venmo or something. I
got the Venmo work. Oh! That's what it was. That's why I was in Hopkins. Remind me to come back to Hopkins. We okay. So another nice challenge I had with the wife is we were getting a punching bag at the house, and I wanted the real Rocky Balboa punching bag, and she comes home with this thing you fill with sand, and it's got a thing on it, and and I hit it, and it almost tips over, and I'm like, that's so dumb. And we went round and round for 3-4 weeks on it. It wasn't a price thing, wasn't anything. She thought this was the better idea, and whatever she says goes. Well, finally she came around and went, that thing's kind of dumb. So I'm like, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop. Put her on the old Facebook Marketplace. Out the door she goes. The lady shows up yesterday and she's like, I'll just Venmo you the money. I'm like, sure, here's my Venmo, So I did. And then it shows up and I'm looking at it because I didn't really look at the app. So I'm looking through the app and it's telling me this person Venmoed this person. And there's a whole history.
It gives you whoever wants to Venmo,
and their transactions. I'm like, I'm not fucking using this. People don't need to know what I'm transacting. I mean,
but they don't know the price. They just know they can put stupid stuff up there. Stupid.
I don't know. I don't think I like that. There's one mom in town who just keeps giving her kid money, gas and food, this and that. It's like, I don't like that at all. But
I usually use dirty stuff when I send it to my friends. I said dirty messages with it.
I didn't think that far ahead. So
you got to be creative with it. But.
Speaking of which, I've been doing some voiceover work for what I'm guessing is a Russian TV evangelist.
Ooh.
So he's like preaching the word of God in what I believe is Russian. And then they send me excerpts that they want translated into English.
Yeah.
So they send me the English, and they don't really critique my work. They don't, whatever. I send them as what they get, and it's not like anything like worry about tone or anything. It's like, you cannot petition the Lord with prayer, like this kind of thing, like fucking the Doors all over again. And I'm like telling them what I'm building. And of course I knew the money portion of it was going to be a problem because it always is. Because he's like from the Middle East and then the dude's from Russia or whatever. So anyway, I finally said, you know what, you need to pay me for what I've done if you want to keep going forward. So he's like, all right, whatever. So I have an invoicing system, then I send him an invoice, and you can pay it right through that. But he sends me this number. He goes, okay, the church paid it, go, whatever. I'm like, I don't see it. Like, well, how did they pay it? And he goes through, is it Riva? It's like RIV something.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm like, I don't even know what that is. He goes, oh, it's a app like PayPal or whatever. So I go and check it out, and I'm doing my research, and my bank guy's never heard of it, and I, whatever.
Yeah, sounds very sketchy.
So I go, what is this? And the guy's got really broken English, like difficult to talk to, even in his texts. And he goes, you go on the website, and you find a location near you, and you go there, and they give you the money. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I look, and they're all like heavy Mexican Mexican like grocery stores. I think Walmart has it, but they're all like foreign relation in some sort. So I find one over in Hopkins. That's how we ended up at that sister restaurant on Sunday. So I go to this other I go to this La Bamba, it's called, and I go in there and I show him this number in my phone, and he goes, do you have ID? I'm like, yeah. So I show him the ID. Boom, he gives me cash. I'm like, what? Like, what's going on here?
I'm so confused.
It's basically like I didn't want to put my bank information into this app. So you can go to these locations, and they'll just give you cash. I'm like,
that's amazing.
Okay, that's cool.
That's I'll take the cash.
So then I text the dude, and I'm like, oh, all right, you paid me for that one. I got these other ones, and now crickets. I haven't heard anything from them, so it's done. But now we roll on to, I've got a fishing boat on the Facebook Marketplace that I'm trying to sell, and I get a guy who's interested, and I'm like, hey, he goes, I was thinking about coming out. I'm like, all right, come on out. Well, then I go to look at it, and things a fucking disaster. I'm like, oh, I gotta clean it up, so we're cleaning it up, and I go, Dad, I've been out of town, so I haven't had time to clean it, but we ended up getting it pretty clean. It's not that big a boat. And the guy comes over, and he's telling me about this other Boston whaler he has, and this whatever, and I'm like, oh, all right, how many do you need? He goes, well, I paraglide. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. What's paragliding? And he's like, well, it's like you tie yourself to a vehicle, and they drive, and it pulls you up in the air, and we have about 5,000 feet of string, and then you let the string go, and you just float on down.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, really? He goes, yeah, and this lake near me has a setup that will work because he doesn't want to drive, he's got to drive 2 hours to find a place to do this.
Yeah.
He goes, so I want to put a boat on that lake. I bought this big wheel of cable, and you can run in this field, and it'll take you up over the lake, and then boom. I'm like, perfect, So I start talking to him, and he's telling me all these stories, and very interesting guy. I'm like, this is cool. I actually think I'm going to have him on the show. So he starts talking to this, he starts talking about that, and he's like, I said, because he's throwing around numbers that I'm like, man, you're buying expensive toys. And I'm like, so what do you do for a living? He's like, I was a dispensary before dispensaries were legal.
Oh, dope. Like, okay. I can hang with him.
He goes, yeah. And he tells me these stories, which I'm not going to get into because I'll let him tell them on the podcast. I probably said too much already. But basically what's happened is he's living in a world where he doesn't exist, basically. Like, everything's cash, everything's, rent, everything, and like that's why he's got to buy a used boat. He can't go finance a new boat because he doesn't work. So it was just so interesting, and he'll get into that. But then I'm talking to him, and I'm like, so you smoke a lot of weed? He goes, a lot. He goes, I really like it. I'm like, that's cool. He was just a normal looking dude. You'd never know.
Yeah.
And he goes, I actually have hoopadipahopophoba, and it's not cool. Yeah. I'm like, oh, what's that? And he goes, my tolerance is so high that I smoke pot a lot. And then at a certain point, he goes, I'll just start throwing up. And he goes, I'll throw up for 2 or 3 days when this kicks in, nonstop. Like that's what.
Holy crap!
Said, and you still smoke? He goes, I love it. He goes,
oh my god!
I just love getting high. I'm like, wow.
Oh my god! I guess so. That's a real love, because throwing up for 2 or 3 days, that's so all the time. That's insane. That's insane. I don't know about that.
He's just a normal dude, and actually, he sent me a bunch of paragliding videos, and I want to say he just texted me today. And said, hey, we're going flying on Friday if you want to go.
Oh, like, okay.
He sent me a video of him because he's got the harness so he can take a passenger with. And then he's got a selfie stick, which just seeing the selfie stick out there, I almost threw up looking at the video. Like just the idea that we're going to fumble around for that phone because you dropped it, I can't do it. But he's got a gal. He's got a gal with him. And he's got he's got all the shit on, and he's sitting back there holding the selfie stick, being all cool. And she says something to him like he said, I got high before we launched, And she turns around and goes, what? Like, you didn't tell me? She goes, so you're high right now? And he's like, yeah, pretty much all the time. And it's just
oh my gosh, I love it. Oh my
God, it was such a trip. The guy was like,
he sounds pretty dope. He sounds pretty awesome.
An hour and a half.
Yeah, he sounds pretty cool.
I said, so how's my price on the boat? He goes, it seems low. I'm like, so you're a cash buyer who thinks my price is low. You want to overpay, but you can't. But you don't want to buy the boat. I get it.
Yeah,
it's too short for what he's doing. I totally get what he's saying. But it was so interesting that. Oh God, what are these guys doing? It was so interesting how open he was about it, because I told the wife about it, and she's like, he's just telling you this stuff? And I'm like, everything that he told me, like, he's clear of everything. Nothing, he doesn't have any whatever. But so I'm going to try and have him on and see if I can get to the bottom of it, because it was super interesting. Wow, just open about it.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds cool.
He was like, my neighbor was a hedge fund guy. He goes, he's got stupid money. He goes, I got enough to get by. And he's like, my neighbor's got a lot. I'm just like,
I need to be there one day. I have enough.
I just want to pay off debt. Can I just pay off debt?
You're never going to let me drop that too.
Right there. Hey, we're going to wrap this thing up. I got carried away on my own tangent today. Holy snot rockets.
It's all good in the hood. It's time.
I've got a couple shows coming out. I'm going to get that Kenny Iron Off one off today, and then we'll get this one out, and we're going to hit back to back to back to back. So if you know anybody who's looking to run some ads or sponsor a podcast, feel free to reach out to us at the DK Project Podcast at gmail.com. Or you'll find a way to get a hold of us. There's options, believe me. Some assholes got my number.
Slide in my DMs.
Spamming me with these stupid calls. Ugh.
Oh, I know, right? They've been doing that again so much.
It's bad. We got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We want to thank our sponsors, Grady Restoration, Lost Lake Creamery, Wiser Insurance. Look them up, help them out, support those who support us. Everybody take care. We'll tune in next week. Thanks, Kristen.
Bye. Bye.
That's it. That's the end.
That's a wrap.
Read the shtick.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends. If you'd like to reach out, you can use the studio line at 612-504-6500 or by email, the DK Project Podcast at gmail.com. And of course, there's always social media at the DK Project Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.